Anyone who hurls poison hopes at a fortress will be surprised when the fortress throws back molten stone. Now imagine this for a moment. Chosen One. She hacks at your life with clumsy rituals and petty sabotage, candles, whispers, crooked tokens, and expects you to break. Instead, everything she sends returns to her like a sharpened blade. Her theater of fear becomes her public indictment. Here's the cold fact. Envy-driven sabotage rarely stands up to calm truth. Social pressure amplifies lies fast, but it also exposes them faster when you refuse to play. People who try to weaponize others' lives usually leave an obvious trail. Sloppy lies, staged drama, and self-made contradictions that crumble under basic scrutiny. That's not mystical bragging, it's cause and effect. And thank you, Chosen One. Don't forget to pay this message back by simply pressing like and subscribe. Help this light reach more souls. You're part of a force. Your quiet witness is the beginning of the reckoning. Back to the point. This isn't about witchcraft theatrics. It's about a wannabe who mistook noise for power and chose you as her target. She aimed at your spirit and found she'd been aiming at something far harder to dent. Your rootedness, your integrity, your unseen shield. While she performs, you rebuild. While she gossips, you gather facts. While she screams for attention, the universe collects the tabs. This introduction is simple. She is loud, jealous, and reckless. You are steady, protected, and rising. Over the next 12 strikes, we'll watch her opening cheap tricks, her animal-tampering desperation, the boomerang of her own actions, and the exact ways silence and boundary become your fiercest weapons. We'll map the signs of her unraveling, frantic posts, exposed lies, collapsing alliances, and name the practical moves that reclaim your life. Clear boundaries, quiet reputation repair, community truth, and daily grounding. No fluff. You are the chosen one in this story. She chose the wrong opponent. Watch her pay and learn how to stand taller while she collapses. And chosen one, listen closely. This is more than a warning. It's a call to action. If you want the truth to spread, tap like and subscribe now and drop 777 in the comments to lock your intent. You choose isolation as your forge, not your prison. Share this with one person who needs to see it and send a brief thanks to the team who built this message. Their work sharpens the light. Your small actions amplify the universe's correction. Stand up, claim your quiet power, and prepare. We begin by tearing down her first cheap trick. Stay with me. If you are truly chosen, you'll feel the pull to watch every second. Let's get started. Number 1. Cheap tricks. Cheap witch. Her opening play. Throwing pebbles at a skyscraper doesn't make the building wobble. It only reveals the tiny hands that threw them. Now listen, her opening play is loud because it must be loud. She needs witnesses. She needs to convince you, and more importantly herself, that she holds some crooked authority. So she buys the props, handfuls of dried herbs, a ribbon tied to a nail, a hastily whispered phrase at midnight, and calls it energy work. She posts the photos, stages the ritual on a phone camera, and sprinkles rumors through the exact people who still think gossip is news. It looks and sounds dramatic, but drama is a cover for weakness. The truth is simple. Those are pebbles. They make noise. They do not move mountains. Imagine for a moment the scene. You wake to a whisper at your door, a talisman tucked under the mat like a child's prank. That same week, a rumor blooms, soft at first, then bold, about something you never did. She lights a candle, and your name is on her tongue. She pins a crooked charm and expects your world to fracture. Did she honestly believe pebble throwing would topple you? Or did she hope the audience would be loud enough to create the fall? Either way, her method reveals desperation, not mastery. This is where being chosen matters. Chosen ones don't need to spectacle. We stand with a gravity that quiets theatrics. Visit any true power, the unshakable presence of an elder, the silence in a leader who's already done the work. And you'll hear the same thing. Power rarely advertises. Look at cultural giants who've been targeted by envy and still rose. Those who endure slander, smear, and staged scandal, but whose work and integrity force the narrative to flip. They didn't chase every accusation. They built, they kept their circle, and the world eventually recognized the difference between noise and substance. That's not mysticism, it's pattern. You might be asking, how can I tell if it's actually aimed at me? Maybe it's coincidence. Good question. Sabotage usually has fingerprints, timing that tracks your moves, details only someone close would know, a sudden focus from people who were indifferent before. A talisman tucked at your door the same day, a rumor about your loyalty appears, is not coincidence. An amplified social post that coincides with your promotion is not coincidence. Attackers build a narrative scaffold. Their props, the ritual photos, the frantic DMs, the manufactured witnesses, are the beams. Once you spot those beams, you stop treating the stage as reality. Another question might be, what if I feel vulnerable? What if those pebbles chip away at me? That's normal. Being targeted hurts, and the first instinct is to defend, to react, to hurl back. But remember the skyscraper. Reacting to pebbles makes you a participant in her theater. Instead, choose to be the skyline. Ground yourself. Small defenses, practical facts, quiet witnesses. If a rumor spreads, document your truth. If a talisman appears, don't dramatize it. Discard it, note the time, and share the facts with a trusted ally. Your power is not in spectacle. It's in steady repair and visible basic truth. That's how legends survive smear campaigns, by refusing to trade their dignity for drama. Let's name the patterns she uses so you can spot them faster. First, the amateur's signature, performative ritualism. It's about camera angles and invented jargon. Second, the smear scaffold. Find someone gullible, feed them a line, watch the lie spread through confirmation bias. Third, the misdirection. While everyone stares at the candle, she steals a narrative elsewhere, a subtle gaslight, a forged message, a fake DM. These are not mystical strategies, they're social engineering dressed in occult aesthetics. When you see the same moves repeated, staged photos, timed leaks, manufactured witnesses, you recognize an actor, not an artist. There's also a psychological bluntness to her approach. Envy needs proof. If she can't break you, she will try to make others doubt you. That's the root motive, and once you accept that, her actions lose sacredness. She's not battling your soul, she's bargaining for relevance. Her spells are the cheapest kind of currency, loud, immediate, and easily debased. Those who've watched more than one petty sabotage cycle will smell it. The same cadence of panic, the same repetition of poor craft. It's almost comical when you've seen it before. The flurry, the angle for effect, the desperate last-ditch attempts. Laughter is part of the recovery, but don't laugh publicly. You're not there to gloat. You're there to reclaim your life. To be practical, when the pebbles land, don't amplify them. Document what's happening. Protect your circle with truth. Correct misstatements calmly and clearly. Record conversations if you need to. Gather witnesses. And let reality do the heavy lifting. The chosen one's advantage is time and discipline. While she burns her nervous energy staging rituals, you build durable assets. a reputation grounded in action, a network that knows your integrity, and evidence that rewrites the rumor's story. In public, your silence is not weakness, it's strategy. Behind closed doors, your work is the corrective force. You'll hear doubters say, "But what if she's truly powerful?" Power isn't measured in props. Real power withstands pressure without clamor. If someone had a mechanism to genuinely harm you from a distance, the path would be surgical and precise, not theatrical. True leverage tends to be invisible, not ostentatious. So when you see loud charm-smithing and public displays, read it as a sign. The attack is amateurish and desperate. Treat it accordingly. We can take a hard lesson from public figures who faced similar noise. They focused on what they could control, their message, their output, their relationships. They did not flail. They did not match the level of the smear with equal theatrics. They were, in effect, skyscrapers who let the pebbles fall. Over time, pebbles become irrelevant. The pattern is consistent. The louder the stage, the faster the collapse when facts arrive. That's not mystical justice. It's social physics. It's the way truth and time interact. For the chosen ones listening, let this be fuel. Her cheap tricks are the admission of her weakness. Every talisman, every staged post, every scrawled rumor is proof that she lacks the inner architecture to build something of her own. Your task is not to punish her theatrics with matching noise. Your task is to outlast them, to repair quietly, to strengthen your field so that her actions rebound on their own. When the social scaffolding she built starts to wobble, you'll see how quickly people stop buying tickets to her show. Finally, did she really think pebble throwing would topple you? No, she hoped for spectators. She miscalculated your standing and the universe's tendency to balance. She misread the chosen one's quiet. Keep that in mind as you move forward. Every amateur move she makes is a visible confession. Watch the props and count the reveals. Keep your dignity, gather evidence. Let the universe and the steady facts do the dismantling. Now, having seen her opening play for what it is, prepare to press the advantage. The next move is your silence sharpened into defense, your unseen shield acknowledged and deployed. But first, breathe. You've just read the trailer, the show is coming. Stay calm, chosen one, and let her pebbles become the proof of her own undoing. Number 2. You walk in armor. She can't see. Armor you can't see is the most dangerous kind. It makes every strike bounce like a stone off a hull. Chosen one, hear this like a bell. She spends her time inventing storms. You were born to stand in them. The protection that surrounds you is not showy. It doesn't need candles, followers, or hashtags. Call it the universe's shield, your inner gravity, the chosen one field, whatever language sits right in your chest. It's quiet, cumulative, and practical. It's built by how you move, who you are, the promises you keep, and the small actions you repeat when no one watches. That's why her loud theatrics hit nothing but air. Picture a lighthouse under siege. Neighbors hurl rocks, shout insults, and burn effigies at its base. Their noise is impressive for a moment, flames and clamor filling the night. But the lighthouse keeps sending its beam. Boats keep steering by it. The storms pass. The actors at the shore exhausted themselves trying to smother a light that was never theirs to own. That is your position. Her rituals and staged scandals are the rocks, the clamor, the temporary bonfire. Your light keeps working. Your field keeps holding. You might ask, is this just a poetic thought? How does invisible protection work in real life? Fair question. Invisible protection shows up as patterns. It's the string of truth that witnesses can pull. It's the credibility you've built with your work. It's the network of friends who know your character. It's also sometimes literal. systems that expose manufactured lies, timestamps, receipts, recorded conversations, and public facts that refuse to bend. The chosen one field turns reaction into resilience. The more she yells, the more evidence settles into place like sediment. Over time, the sediment becomes rock. Remember famous examples, people who survived noise because they had something heavier, reputation, craft, or an army of quiet witnesses. Think of artists and leaders who were targeted with narratives engineered to break them, yet continued to release work, to show up, and to let their output answer the lies. They didn't win by escalating, they won by outlasting and by letting their competence and integrity accumulate until the falsehoods looked ridiculous. That's not an exotic spell. That is time, consistency, and a field that refuses to be moved by theatrics. Let's be practical. How does the chosen one field look when she tries to attack? First, she broadcasts. She needs an audience, so her lies will echo. Second, she layers a story with emotion, so it spreads faster. Outrage, jealousy, a hint of scandal. Third, she hopes for witnesses who either don't know the truth or are too lazy to check. But this is where your unseen armor does its work. Witnesses who know you add friction to the rumor. Verifiable facts collapse the engineered narrative. Calm responses diffuse the emotional engine she's banking on. The shield isn't mystical isolation, it's social physics. A concrete vignette will help. Imagine she pins a talisman to your porch and posts a grainy photo online claiming you're cursed, while at the same time seeding a rumor that you sabotaged a colleague's promotion. Instead of panicking, you document the talisman, note times, and quietly notify a neighbor who is a reliable witness. You respond to the rumor with a calm public correction that includes verifiable details, dates, names, a short, factual timeline. Your manager, who knows the truth, steps in with a brief statement. The online chatter sputters because it meets durable facts and people who can verify. The talisman, it's removed by municipal workers the next day after someone reports it as litter. Her stunt wound up as public weirdness, not harm. That's the field at work, small, practical steps that turn theater into noise. You might worry, what if people still believe her? Yes, some will. People are often drawn to drama because it's easier to process than nuance. That's why the chosen one doesn't chase every doubter. You keep building the archive of truth. You keep living in line with your values, and you let time do its work. The loudest shrieks get quieter when the daily proof of your integrity accumulates. If a person insists on believing falsehoods, that's their choice. You are protecting your track record, not arguing for every soul. Another common question: can I strengthen this armor? Absolutely. The shield's thickness depends on three things: documentation, community, and discipline. Documentation means keeping records, screenshots, receipts. The boring but useful things. Community means trustworthy people who can attest to the truth when needed. Discipline is the daily practice of not reacting to every pebble. These are tactical acts. They're not mystical. They're pragmatic measures that make your presence unassailable in the long run. You'll hear voices that push the opposite path, match noise with noise, outdo theatrics with counter-theatrics. Don't. Reacting on that level hands her exactly what she needs: witnesses and spectacle. You want the opposite. Use silence as strategy. Use facts as counterweight. Turn her urgency into your calendar entries for repair and rebuilding. While she exhausts herself inventing new acts, you exponentially increase the weight of truth. There is also a psychological effect to consider. When she sees that her attacks fizzle, she gets angrier and more reckless. That's a useful indicator. The more frantic her moves, the more evident her lack of strategy becomes. Panic exposes seams. When actors panic, they leave fingerprints. When she becomes louder, she becomes easier to read and easier to undermine with simple facts. Watch for escalation as confirmation you're on the right track. A calm response is the most efficient dismantling tool. Let's look at a quieter tactic that protects the chosen one: deliberate visibility. That sounds funny after telling you to stay calm, but there's a distinction between drama and strategic visibility. Share small, consistent updates that reinforce reality. A short post about a recent success with clear dates, a public thank you to collaborators, a fact-based clarification when necessary. These micro-anchors create a trail that resists manufactured stories. Visibility without hysteria is armor plating. It fills gaps that gossip tries to exploit. Finally, remember the cosmic image, a boomerang. She throws her action outward with force, hoping it will find you. She's counting on trajectory and audience, but every dishonest throw carries with it a return path. The chosen one field bends that path. It absorbs, refracts, and sends the energy back with interest. You don't need to predict the exact return. You only need to remain steady enough to let the return reveal itself. Keep doing the small things. Keep your circle close. Keep your records clean. Keep speaking truth when it matters, and keep your calm when it doesn't. This is not spiritual sermonizing, it's applied resilience. The lighthouse still beams, boats still read the signal. Her rocks are visible, and the world recognizes who built them. Keep your light on, chosen one. Her boomerang is already in motion. Number 3, karma isn't cute, it's a boomerang with teeth. Chosen one, every move she makes comes back sharper, heavier, and aimed at her own chest. She hurls venom thinking it will pierce your skin, but the universe has a law that cannot be bent. Energy returns to sender. Her spite is like a knife she flings in rage, only to watch it carve her own hand on the way back. She doesn't realize yet that her curses are receipts, and the universe never forgets to collect payment. Imagine this. She schemes in secret, whispering into the ears of people you thought were neutral. She plants the idea that you betrayed someone, that you can't be trusted. For a moment it sticks, because drama always moves fast. But here's where the boomerang flies. One of her allies leaks the truth. Screenshots emerge, messages surface, and suddenly she's exposed as the one orchestrating the betrayal. The very lie she built to ruin you becomes the evidence that ruins her. This is not wishful thinking. This is how social ecosystems work. When you weaponize dishonesty, you make yourself the most dangerous person in the room, and people eventually protect themselves by cutting you off. You may ask, but why does it always come back harder? Because desperation multiplies mistakes. Each time she fails to hurt you, she escalates. Each escalation adds more weight to the boomerang, more proof for the universe to swing back. Think of it like compound interest. Every drop of malice accrues debt until the final payment shatters her balance. History shows it. Those who scheme against others, from court advisors to modern influencers, always unravel in spectacle. It's never small. The return is always amplified because deceit requires louder lies to maintain itself, and lies always collapse under their own weight. Here's the brutal truth. You don't need to chase her, expose her, or retaliate. The universe is already moving faster than you could. Your only task is to stay still enough to let the return arc land where it belongs. The more she swings, the sooner she bleeds. Her boomerang is already slicing through the air, and when it lands, chosen one, it will not miss. Number 4. She misread the field, mistaken the opponent. She mistook a giant oak for a weed and swung her pocket knife, thinking it could cut down the forest. Chosen one, that is her greatest mistake, misreading the field, misjudging the opponent. She thought you were ordinary, that your strength was surface level, that your silence meant weakness. What she failed to grasp is that you stand rooted with resilience, reputation, and inner gravity far deeper than her reach. Spiritual ranking isn't about mystical hierarchies. It's about the weight of character, the consistency of your actions, the way the universe bends to protect those who live aligned with truth. You are the oak, steady and immovable. She is the frantic hand clutching a pocket knife, convinced she can carve into something centuries stronger. Think of it like this. She threw her rituals at you the way a child hurls stones at armored glass. Loud cracks, a little noise, maybe even some scratches, but no real damage. The armor doesn't break because it was built to withstand storms, not just tantrums. And here's the irony, every failed strike exposes her more than it weakens you. The universe makes it so. Her effort becomes her confession. Her energy returns as exhaustion, paranoia, and public embarrassment, while your steadiness becomes proof of your rank. You may wonder, why didn't she see it? Why would anyone pick a fight they couldn't win? Envy clouds judgment. When someone is obsessed with bringing you down, they stop measuring reality. They see you smiling and mistake it for arrogance. They see your silence and call it emptiness. They see your strength but convince themselves it's fragile. That delusion is their undoing. She thought you were on her level, that a few staged rituals and whispered lies could bend your path. But chosen ones walk with a field that makes enemies slip on their own traps. History proves this pattern. Many have targeted figures rooted in resilience, from innovators mocked in their early days to leaders smeared with falsehoods. Each attacker assumed equality, but the difference in grounding made every strike futile. Just as storms can strip leaves but never topple the oak, her schemes can rustle your surface but cannot shift your core. The truth is simple. She underestimated the weight of your roots. She mistook your quiet power for vulnerability, and now she's discovering that she didn't start a skirmish. She declared war on a force the universe itself stands behind. That war was lost the moment she chose you as her opponent. Number 5. Twisting nature, the animal trick and her desperation. She tried to steal clouds from the sky to change the weather, only to find the storm raining on her own head. Chosen one, this is how desperate she's become. In her hunger to wound you, she twisted what should never be twisted, the innocence of nature itself. She thought that by tampering with animals, by dragging the pure into her crooked rituals, she could bend the universe in her favor. But cruelty is not cleverness. When someone abuses nature, they are not wielding power. They are committing a violation that demands immediate correction. The universe does not tolerate tampering with its most defenseless creations. It responds quickly, harshly, and messily. Think of the arrogance, as if rearranging the weather could be done by plucking clouds out of the sky and stuffing them into her pocket. It's hubris, pure and simple. Just like a child trying to command the tides with a stick, she believes harming the innocent makes her mighty. But what happens instead? The balance shifts against her. The storm that she thought she was controlling breaks open above her life, drenching her in the consequences she cannot escape. Nature has always had a law: harm the innocent, and the harm multiplies back. Picture this concrete moment. She uses an animal in her ritual, parading her power to those gullible enough to watch. The very next week, her own pet runs away, refuses to return, or becomes sick in a way she cannot fix. The same life force she tried to exploit revolts against her. Word spreads. Neighbors whisper that something's off, that she's reckless, cruel, untrustworthy. Her attempt at appearing fearsome collapses into humiliation because people no longer see mystic strength. They see a dangerous fool harming what should be protected. Instead of gaining fear, she gains disgust. You might ask, why does the universe react so fast here? Because nature operates without delay. Human systems may be slow, but the natural order is immediate. The same way a hand recoils the instant it touches fire, cruelty toward animals snaps back instantly. It's the most primal law there is. That's why her meddling looks like power in the moment, but within days it unravels into embarrassment, loss, and exposure. Remember this, chosen one. She is not powerful for dragging innocence into her schemes. She is pathetic. And the universe, in its precision, makes sure her cruelty becomes her confession. Every act against nature marks her more clearly as desperate, and every backlash reminds you that she was never in control. She tried to twist the natural order, but all she did was tie the noose around her own name. Number 6. 30 times return when her debt multiplies. She thought she was sending whispers into the wind, but the wind came back as a hurricane 30 times stronger. Chosen one, this is the law she cannot escape. Every ounce of malice she spits multiplies. Not 1 for 1, not even 10 for 1. The universe takes her intention, magnifies it, and sends it back 30-fold. That's not mystical fantasy. It's the brutal math of cause and effect. When you sow poison, you don't harvest a few weeds. You choke your own field until nothing grows. And right now, she's watching her own garden rot because of the seeds she planted against you. Think about the scale of that return. She spreads one rumor, and in weeks, her own reputation is shredded by 30 different voices calling her untrustworthy. She tries to block one opportunity for you, and suddenly 36 doors slam in her face. Jobs she thought she could claim vanish, partnerships evaporate, phone calls go unanswered. She sacrifices one friendship in the name of envy, and finds herself deserted by a whole circle, 30 connections dissolving into thin air because no one wants to be tainted by her chaos. This isn't random bad luck. It's the debt collector of the universe arriving on schedule. Here's why it multiplies. Malice always requires escalation. One lie demands 3 more to protect it. One betrayal creates a ripple that breaks multiple bonds. One petty sabotage requires covering tracks that only expose more cracks. She thinks she's managing it, but like a gambler, she keeps doubling down until the loss outgrows the stake. By the time she realizes the balance sheet, it's too late. The interest has eaten her whole. Picture it vividly. She smirks, thinking her spell has weakened you, but within days her bank account bleeds from sudden expenses she can't manage. She gloats about turning others against you, then stumbles into a gathering where no one trusts her, whispers cutting louder than any she spread. She planned a small wound for you. Instead, she inherits 30 blows she can't stop. That's the precision of the universe's ledger. Not delayed, not denied, but multiplied and returned. So remember, chosen one, you don't have to lift a hand. Every attack she launches is an invoice with her name already written on it. And when the bill arrives, it never matches what she sent. It's always 30 times heavier, 30 times louder, 30 times more devastating. She thought she could afford the cost of targeting you. She was wrong. Number 7. Performance magic. loudness is a mask. She beats the drums of war, but when the smoke clears, there's no army behind her, only the echo of her own noise. Chosen one, that's the truth of her magic. It's not strength, it's theater. Envy breeds performance because the envious are terrified of silence. Silence forces them to confront their own emptiness. So instead, she gets loud. She lights candles for the camera, mutters curses in rehearsed tones, throws symbols and props together like a cheap stage play. Every movement is exaggerated, every gesture designed to trick not just the audience, but herself. Loudness is her mask, and without it, she has nothing. Think of her like an actor in an empty theater. She paints her face, rehearses her lines, screams her monologue into the void, convinced that applause will come if she's dramatic enough. But the seats are bare. No witnesses, no ticket buyers, no standing ovation. All her volume only highlights the silence around her. That is her power in reality, sound without substance, performance without consequence. And the universe loves exposing actors who mistake stage lights for the sun. Here's a scene you've probably seen play out. She floods social media with cryptic posts, claiming dark forces are working, things are shifting. She implies she's holding some secret influence over you, that she's in control of your downfall. For a moment, a few gullible followers lean in, waiting for the promised drama. But nothing arrives. Weeks pass. You remain unshaken, even thriving. Meanwhile, her own life begins unraveling. Bills pile up, allies ghost her, cracks in her story surface. Her performance ends not with applause, but with awkward silence and whispers that she's unstable. That's the reality behind her mask. Collapse where she hoped for awe. You may ask, why does she need the theatrics if it's powerless? Because envy is hungry. It needs validation. It feeds on borrowed attention. Without an audience, her insecurity devours her from the inside. The show is her only shield against herself. But when no one buys tickets, even that shield breaks. The louder she gets, the more obvious her weakness becomes. So remember, chosen one, her noise is not power. It's desperation. Real strength doesn't need a stage or a prop. It stands in silence, unshaken, while the actors exhaust themselves. And when the curtain finally falls, you'll still be standing while she's left bowing to an empty room. Number 8. Your silence is a counterspell. Silence is the deadliest counterspell. It turns every fevered accusation into the sound of a lone voice in an empty hall. Chosen one, your refusal to dance on her stage is not weakness, it is strategy. While she flails for witnesses and feeds her own drama, your boundaries act like a shield that absorbs noise and converts it into insignificance. The universe notices steady restraint. The heavens register disciplined calm. Every time you refuse to retaliate, you puncture the spectacle she's building. Every time you hold your ground, you force her to escalate until her theatrics implode under their own weight. Think of silence as a counter-magic, not mystical spellwork, but high-grade social engineering. When you cut contact, you remove the fuel. When you refuse to reply to baited messages, you deny her the emotional currency she needs to prove her story. Rebuilding quietly, reconnecting with allies, repairing small reputational leaks, doing visible work that creates facts, is the practical ritual that makes her attempts impotent. While she spends energy inventing chaos, you invest energy in durable reality. A calm statement when necessary, documented facts, reliable witnesses. That's how the chosen one field turns drama into dust. You might wonder, won't silence look like guilt to others? It's a fair fear, but silence paired with steady evidence is different from silence born of avoidance. If you act with transparency where it matters, share concise facts, confirm timelines, show receipts only when needed, your silence on theatrics becomes credibility. People who care about truth watch for patterns, not for instantaneous displays. Your consistent behavior will always outlast a manufactured moment of outrage. Here's a short, concrete example. She stages a viral accusation, tagging mutual contacts and pushing a flimsy narrative. Instead of firing back, you quietly collect timestamps, gather a short witness list, and post one calm, factual correction with dates and a neutral tone. She expects a meltdown to feed her followers. When none comes, she posts louder, invents more drama, then slips. Someone posts a screenshot of her planning the smear. The smear collapses. Her followers scatter. The silence you held became the wedge that split her theater apart. How long should I stay silent? Stay strategic, not passive. Use silence until your facts are organized. Use visibility when it strengthens your record. Silence is not absence, it's preparation. And remember, every ignored provocation chips away at her audience. She needs noise to survive. Starve her of it. Let her rage. Let her shout. Your calm will rewrite the story. The universe rewards those who keep their center. Keep your focus on growth, chosen one, and let silence do the heavy lifting. Number 9. Signs she's losing it. The unravel. She built her armor out of mirrors, but now every crack shows her own face, staring back in panic. Chosen one, the unravel is here. You'll see it in the frantic shifts, the desperate moves, the theater breaking apart before the audience. When someone who feeds on envy finally runs out of fuel, their mask begins to crumble. And what spills through is raw, exposed insecurity. Watch carefully, because the signs are not subtle. They are loud, messy, and impossible for her to hide. First, the frantic DMs. She starts messaging people she barely knows, reaching out at odd hours, trying to spin the narrative one more time. Her tone flips from rage to pleading in a single breath. One minute she's painting herself as the victim, the next she's firing accusations with no proof. It's not strategy anymore, it's panic. The urgency in her words screams that she's losing control. Then come the slanderous posts. She floods her pages with half-truths, cryptic quotes, and not-so-subtle digs aimed at you. But here's the twist. The more she posts, the more obvious it becomes who she's talking about. People start to piece it together. Instead of convincing her audience, she exposes her obsession. The posts don't make you look weak. They make her look unhinged. What was meant as power play reads like desperation. Next, sudden confessions. Out of nowhere, she blurts pieces of truth in an attempt to cover tracks. Well, yes, I did say that, but only because that's the unravel. When lies collapse, the liar stumbles into half-admissions dressed as excuses. People catch on. Even her supporters feel the wobble. Once the curtain slips, you can't unsee the strings. And then, the public meltdowns. She snaps in places where she once tried to appear composed, lashing out in meetings, crying on live streams, overreacting to small triggers. The cracks in her performance armor widen until the whole costume collapses. What once looked like mystique now looks like instability. The image she worked so hard to manufacture shatters in front of everyone. Savor this moment, chosen one, not with gloating, but with clarity. This is justice at its cleanest. No fists thrown, no revenge plotted, just the natural exposure of a mask too heavy to wear forever. The unravel is the universe's way of saying, see, she was never in control. And you You're still standing, untouched, while her theater burns down around her. Number 10. The universe rebalances, not revenge, correction. She thought the scales could stay tilted forever, but the universe always drops the weight with a decisive clang. Chosen one, this isn't about revenge. It's not about mystical lightning bolts or cosmic favoritism. It's about correction, the natural law that every action eventually finds its way home. The universe doesn't play favorites, it plays balance. What she pushed out, she must now hold. What she twisted, she must now untangle. Energy returns to its source, and when that energy is poisoned, the return is sharp and unforgiving. Think of a scale tilted to one side. For a while, she enjoyed the illusion of advantage. Her lies bought her sympathy, her staged theatrics gave her an audience, and her sabotage seemed to create setbacks for you. But a tilted scale doesn't stay tilted. Gravity insists on correction. Eventually the weight drops, the scale slams back, and the sound is unmistakable. That's what's happening now. Not punishment, not divine wrath, but a mechanical rebalancing that no one can outwit. You can already see it in the social sphere. The same people who once entertained her stories begin to withdraw. Whispers change direction, eyes narrow when she walks into the room. Reputation is fragile. When the truth starts leaking through, the collapse is rapid. Her network, once an echo chamber, becomes scattered silence. Social correction is brutal because it's public, and she cannot stage manage every whisper. Then there are the psychological consequences. When you live on lies and envy, your mind becomes a battlefield. She is restless at night, replaying her own narratives, doubting her own stories, imagining betrayals that don't exist. Every escalation she tries only deepens her paranoia. This isn't supernatural torment, it's the price of dishonesty. Anxiety, fear, and guilt are the tolls of imbalance, and the universe makes sure they come due. Finally, the logistical fallout, missed opportunities, financial leaks, projects collapsing at the worst possible time. The universe has a way of aligning events so that falsehoods trip over themselves. One missed payment leads to a chain reaction of loss. One broken promise exposes 10 others. Systems correct by unraveling what was built on deceit. So, chosen one, understand this clearly. You don't need to plot revenge. You don't need to lift a hand. The correction is already happening. The scale is already dropping with force. And when it slams into place, it won't be quiet. It won't be subtle. It will echo as proof that the universe always rebalances. Number 11. Your true rituals. Boundary, rebuild, rise. Real rituals aren't staged under candlelight. They're written in the choices you make every day. Chosen one, while she wastes her breath on theatrics and props, your true rituals are invisible yet unstoppable. They don't require strange objects or whispered curses. They require discipline, truth, and action. This is how you rise. Not by mimicking her noise, but by building a foundation so strong that her chaos can't shake it. Your first ritual is boundary. One firm, unshakable no can stop a smear campaign in its tracks. Picture this. She tries to pull you into another manufactured conflict, flooding you with DMs, tagging your name in half-truths online. Instead of engaging, you set the record once, a short, factual correction, and then you lock the door. You block her access, cut off her entry points, and make it clear. Her circus does not get a stage in your life. That silence, that barrier, is more powerful than any counterspell. Your second ritual is rebuild, not with vengeance, but with authenticity. Rebuilding your reputation isn't about fighting rumors. It's about living in such a way that the truth becomes undeniable. Think of the moment you step into a room where whispers about you have circled, and instead of defending yourself, you present your work, your results, your calm. Facts beat fiction every time. One small act of transparency, like sharing your achievements publicly or thanking those who've supported you, can shatter weeks of her noise. People believe what they see, not what they're told. Show them. Your third ritual is gather allies. You don't need an army, just a few steady voices who know your character. These allies don't have to fight for you. Their presence alone validates your truth. A single colleague saying that doesn't sound like them, carries more weight than dozens of her frantic claims. Build your circle by standing beside those who value truth. When chaos hits, your network becomes your armor, and your final ritual is daily grounding. A quiet walk, journaling, prayer or meditation if that's your language, even just setting aside 10 minutes to breathe. These are the anchors that keep you steady. While she burns herself out, staging performances, you conserve your energy, sharpen your focus, and move forward with clarity. Grounding rituals keep your mind untouchable. These are your true rituals: boundary, rebuild, rise. Each one is practical, each one is powerful, and together they make you indestructible. Let her throw her pebbles. You are busy laying bricks into a fortress the universe itself reinforces. Number 12. Final reckoning. She pays, you walk elevated. She tried to write your downfall in someone else's ink. Now watch her sign the receipt with her own blood. Chosen one, this is the final scene. Cinematic, merciless, and utterly precise. The cameras stop rolling on her performance and catch her alone. No props, no followers, no plausible deniability. The costs she tried to outsource to you come due. Friends who once smiled in her posts stop answering. Business doors that seemed open click shut. Invoices pile where she thought none would. Isolation is the clearest currency of her collapse. Exposure is the ledger. You see her standing in a public square she made herself, shouting into an empty room while the town watches the receipts appear. Messages, screenshots, eyewitness accounts, each one another nail in the case she tried to build against you. Picture it, frame by frame, the confident smirk replaced by a twitch, the staged photos now plain evidence in someone else's feed, her excuses rehearsed and hollow. The people she bought attention from drift away when the cost of association rises. Those who once performed for her applause quietly untag and unfollow. Contracts evaporate when verification reveals her fabrication. The petty sabotage she engineered to wound you rewinds and lands precisely on her ledger. Reputational hemorrhage, financial penalties, the awkward phone calls that no PR strategy can fix. This is not triumphalism. This is consequence, clean, inevitable, and public. And you walk through the smoke with your shoulders unbent. You did not stoop to match her theatrics. You guarded your field, you documented the facts, you let silence and steady action do the work. While she pays the price, you collect something far more valuable: clarity, momentum, and an elevated life few can touch. Your circle tightens with allies who saw truth and chose it. Opportunities that were once delayed return to you with compound interest. The universe, precise and indifferent, finishes what panic began. You may wonder, should I gloat? Should I tell everyone? No, the chosen one's recompense is not spectacle, it's dignity. Let the exposure be a lesson, not a weapon. Hold your head higher, not sharper. Reinvest your energy into rebuilding the life she tried to fracture. Let her unravel, be an example that teaches others how not to behave. Your ascension is the living proof. Your calm is the final argument. Stand still and watch the mechanics of correction do their work. Keep your boundaries. Keep your truth visible where it matters. Stay focused on growth. The rest will fall into place. You are unbreakable. Walk elevated. And so, chosen one, we've walked the path from her cheap theatrics to her final reckoning. And the truth is clear. The universe was never on her side. Every move she made only sealed her own downfall, while you rose untouched, armored in silence and strength. Your story is proof that no wannabe witch can break what the heavens themselves protect. Now, if this message spoke to your spirit, press like, hit subscribe, and drop the number 77 in the comments to claim your shield. Share this with another chosen one. Let's spread the light together.